Alright, what's up guys? It's GSR here. I wanted to talk to you guys today about cameo fighters.
While Yang is
So,
your superior.
um,
Round
I
one.
think cameo
Fight.
fighters are it's going to be an assist-based game basically, right? But I think that they're gonna have regular 1v1s. So say for example in regular 1v1s you have like all your characters main normals and stuff like that. But then like in cameo fighters, or like, tag team mode or whatever the hell they're gonna call it, some of the normals that you have start to get replaced, right? And certain special moves that you have start to get replaced as well, with your cameo fighter, right? So, say for example, see this 4-2-2. I think like what possibly can happen is that they can mix in the cameo fighter, where they add a combo string with that cameo fighter. So instead, it'll look something like kind of like that, but then you can finish off the combo string, or like you might have like a certain combo string where you can launch them or something like that. And I also think like the R2, or not the R2, yeah, actually the R2 and the right analog stick, I think that they're going to be a thing in that game as well, where like, if you want to call out like a special move with your character, you can do that by using the right analog stick, or like if you want to meter burn that bitch, right? You can do that, and then it'll lead to something like that. You know what I mean? Like a pop up or a hard knockdown, or you'll get extra damage or damage over time, and you know stuff like that. Hopefully you guys understand like where I'm going with this, right? So I don't think it's going to be like a traditional tag team game, but it's kind of it's going to feel like it a little bit. You know what I mean? So what if like actually, I can't actually show you here because they're not going to show off noob side by here. But what if, like, when you pick your cameo fighter,
Clef logo.
you know what I'm saying? Uh,
Noob
this happens
sidelines.
right after you pick your main character, where there is two characters on the screen instead of one, right? And I think that the cameo fighters are the variation system. Depending on what character you pick, your character might be really good with this cameo fighter, which means like your character has really good rush down, your character has really good zoning tools, your character has good spacing, your character has really strong mind games because of this character. But in terms of balance, this is where this is going to be a complication, because if this is implemented wrong, this is going to cause problems. Hopefully, it's not going to be on no Dragon Ball Z Fighter slash, Marvel versus Capcom type shit. But I feel like if they implement it correctly and they do it right, I think that they can do a pretty good job at doing that. In my personal opinion, um, what if like
Fact.
your victory
Character.
poses, right?
Characters.
Have your cameo fighter involved in that, right? What if your fatal blow has your cameo fighter involved in that as well? If this is going to be strictly an assist-based game and there's not going to be regular 1v1s, right? So, say for example, new Sidebot and Sub Zero, win, and then all of a sudden this happens where Sub Zero is next to new Sidebot. That would be very interesting. Also, seeing the dialogue where like, you know, um, it's not just like, say for example, it's not just Noob Saibot on the screen. It's also your cameo fighter, where like your cameo fighter has like some type of rebuttal, or they say something slick out the mouth. Like some type of interesting dialogue between the characters and stuff like that. Like seeing like Havoc and Rico or Raiko together, and then like they say something to each other, and then like they just disappear off the screen in some type of way. Like Havoc starts to laugh all crazy and shit, and then he just disappears to the Chaos Realm or something like that. Like you kind of see like where I'm going with that, right? Like so they can get really creative with this assist tag team mode or whatever the case may be. I'm not gonna say like this hasn't been done before, because in Deception there was new smoke, and I think that's a good example of how they possibly are going to do this, where like certain special moves are going to change and stuff like that. I don't think you're going to be able to switch from your main character to the cameo fighter, which technically cameo fighters in that game, from my understanding, is not going to be playable. So I think like you know the combo system is going to be pretty interesting, seeing you know uh how should I put it? It's going to be interesting seeing how they put this together when it comes to combos, right? And this could also make or break their game, mainly because of the fact that like you have to also understand that like if there are characters that have not been seen in such a long time and they're not playable, that's going to cause a problem for a lot of people, right? Now, if you do this correctly and they're not playable, but they are cameo fighters, and it feels like you're playing as a character as well, which technically you kind of are, and they do it right, I don't necessarily see the big problem with that, but it's going to be very interesting to see what they're going to do here because I think like certain combo strings are going to be kind of replaced with your cameo. I said camo, but your cameo fighters combo strings, like where they have their own unique combo strings that link in with your combo strings, and it's like a mixture. Hopefully, you guys understand what I'm saying by using Noob Saibot as this example. But yeah, hopefully you guys, like I said, you get the idea by now. But this is just kind of my opinion on it. I am kind of looking forward to it because I did say in the video, it kind of feels like Shaolin Monks a little bit. So I'm wondering if, the cameo fighters are going to be used offensively mainly or defensively. It's going to be very interesting seeing how they do this because you have to also understand if your cameo fighter replaces a certain normal that they have, right? And then that normal has a lot of range on it, and then they come out where you're not nowhere present, right? How is that going to be balanced out? You know what I mean? Like if you hit that character with that extended normal, like that has that extended normal, or like they rush towards you, how is that going to be balanced out? If you hit them, will it count towards your opponent's health bar on the opposing side? Like it's going to be very interesting to see how they do this because they always try new things, which I'm not opposed to. It's actually pretty interesting to see how they do this, but they really need to fix it if it's fucked up, and that's just all I'm saying about that. But hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about in terms of like the system that they have in play here when it comes to cameo fighters. So I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to be because if it's going to be like Noob Smoke from Deception with a little bit of MK9 vibes to it, that's going to be interesting. But you can't switch out from your main character to your cameo fighter. That's the only thing. So it begs the question whether or not Liu Kang is going to be a playable character. The reason why I say that is because if he's a playable character, then that would mean the younger version of Raiden and Kung Lao are going to be his assist characters, right? Or like you could pick like Shang Tsung as your assist character. So, but then again, I mean, in the trailer, it shows clear as day that these characters. But then again, it doesn't necessarily say that. The trailer didn't necessarily say like, "Hey, these characters are going to be playable." It just showed that these characters exist in the game. You understand what I'm saying? Or they're going to be existing in the game because of the new timeline. So they could be cameo fighters. You never know. Which I mean, that's I tell you right now. You talk about me ranting on the game, boy, it's going to be a war. So I think that's what they're going to do. It's going to be like some, you know, fire and ice type shit going on in the game as well.
Story.
And this is just my opinion on it. I think that's what's going to happen is like, certain normals are going to possibly be replaced. I don't know if they're going to have a regular 1v1, which would be interesting if they do have a regular 1v1, because I'm pretty sure competitively, if they fuck this up, there's going to be a lot of issues with that. Like there's going to be some fucked up setups, a lot of crazy set play going on. Like I mean, dude, I'm trying to tell you what I know. So like hopefully they do this right. And I'm not doubting them or anything like that, because like I said, I don't like criticizing games not unless I play them. Like I said, if there's some dumb shit in the game, I'm pretty sure if I expose it, somebody's going to sit here and say, you suck, you're bad at the game. The typical excuses that you typically hear, instead of understanding why this player is saying what they're saying. It is what it is at the end of the day. And then like a high level player is going to come out and say the same shit that I say basically, and then they're going to pander to that person. But it is what it is. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section down below, because I'm kind of curious to see where this is going to go. So peace out.